to BRL round 3. We are back. We're at Imola today. Nice, relaxed track, I would say. Completely opposite for everyone else in the pre-race comments. Everyone is just scared to pieces. I mean, if I just read a couple of these, well, I'm not allowed to. A couple of them. Well, Quickler's asked if we can just play Fortnite instead, which I think really sums up his opinion. And he's going to extend his pony, but he thinks he's going to extend his podium streak. So it's a bold prediction for him. Rick, this is one of his best tracks, apparently, according to him. So we better watch out because he might come in and absolutely collate everyone. But the man who won the championship last year, he returned to winning ways last race at Bahrain, which we all admit was a little bit of a yawner. So he's now back on top of the standings after being P3 after round 1. Other notable changes would be, it would be helpful if I had the standings up on my phone. Rick has fallen down a place, so he's now in P2, but he might be hoping with a strong track to head back up to the top of the table. And our Henson, obviously getting knocked down a position as well, he now falls into P3. Aero Blake had a pretty decent race as well. He's moved up to P4 in the championship, and Smithy in P5 for the Red Bull, although he was in the Aston Martin, so I think he's a reserve. Other than that, take a quick look at the constructors whilst we have time. Ferrari comfortably leading at the top, so no surprises there at all. It was a good first weekend for Haas, but then they've sort of fallen off a bit. They're now all the way down in 5th. Williams have made it up to 2nd and Aston Martin 3rd, with McLaren 4th, Mercedes in P6 with 33 points, Alpine P7 and Alfa Romeo in P8, Alpha Tauri in P9 and Red Bull. So the two Red Bull teams down at the back of the grid. So I'll be hoping to make a turnaround today with no one in the Red Bull car, and which is just ideal. That's, I think, the only team that's missing both people. Yes, but they have Crazy Dutchman and Aidan Gray in the Alpha Tauri, so they might be able to pull some points there. Right, and now we're just waiting for Calf Jack to join, and then I think we are all ready to go. And I have been, I think, slightly rude here. I've kind of not mentioned I'm not alone today. For the first time in at least sort of 7-8 weeks, I'm with Bobby Butler. Yeah, well, he's currently P2 in the championship, and he says that this is one of his stronger tracks. J Horse isn't particularly confident with this track, or at least that's what he says. He said that he can only go 2 miles an hour in the first 2 sectors, so I think that really sums up his opinion on the track. So we might be able to see a good bit of qualifying here, because we got quite a few great qualifiers in this league. So let's see what happens. Heading into short qualifying now. Massively. Yeah, and especially at Imola as well. A couple of people really want it to rain, and then people like Mr. Cookie have just said if it's heavy rain, he will cry. So that sums up. We've got two very drastic opinions of a changing conditions at this track. Alrighty, I think we got let stream is in, and on the commentator stream, that's just what we want to see. Oh right, so Alex Mills says that he can't hear you. Have you got the setting on that says like share other people's voices? Were you hosting the stream? Yeah, so there's another setting for if you're not the person streaming it. So it's somewhere in the party settings, and it's like it just says share your voice. I'm pretty certain. So yeah, when I put on the streaming, it says allow other people in the party. So I obviously click yes. You got it.
There we go.
Flicked it on. Lovely
go.
stuff.
Yep,
that should.
That.
Now, can we hear you?
Should be fine.
Yep, can hear you loud and clear now. Yeah.
Excellent.
You're loud and clear. Lovely stuff.
Right, I'm back in the room. Now I can sort my spectator menu out, so I know what I'm doing.
We switch to get to leader, tyres, telemetry, and full track. You can see the AlphaTauri leaving. Quite a lot of people out on track at the moment. It's going to be an AlphaTauri. It's going to be Aidan Gray will be the first man across the line to start, but nearly the entire grid out on track already.
Always just a set of lap to start with.
Yeah, you've got to get your banker in. That's vital, especially for the 18-minute qualifying, to get a decent banker lap in and then be able to improve upon that. Because then you can see your areas of weakness and your areas of improvement, so you can come into your next lap with a bit of a different strategy. So here comes Aidan Gray across the line. DRS wide open down the single DRS straight that we have here at Imola. So that's also something to keep in mind. Other notable thing, Mechanical Cole's saying that it is an all-dry qualifying. I'm not sure whether it's an all-dry race. He didn't mention that bit, but he has just said also all-dry. And he's probably out on track currently, so there's no real point in asking. No, he's not hit. Oh yeah, he is. He's on his outright. So it's quite a... It's a reasonably short lap round Imola. It is a very slow lap in comparison to a lot of other tracks. So downforce is it's beloved around this track because you've got tight corners here like the chicane, and then you head down to the two left-handers which run out of one another beautifully. Alex Mills asking, who do you think is going to get this pole? I think Rick has got a really good chance of getting this pole, and I think you can never say Mr. Cookie.
1:16.6 for Aidan Gray, our first lap on the board. Alexis Sanchez 1:17. That's Sim Guy 1:16.4.
Yeah, that's another man you can't eliminate from the possibility of getting pole as well. He's a decent qualifier, but also you can never skip this guy. Even if he doesn't do all that well in the races, he does qualify pretty consistently, so he's always in with a shout. Getting a decent one, as you can see. My point proven.
Cookie 1:16.5. It's close at the top.
It is very close.
All within 3/10 the top four. J-Hor's yet to set his lap. Oh, just as I say that, 1:15.9. There you go.
Yeah, this man is comfortably quick. I think with J-Horse, one thing that he has above a lot of others is a lot of confidence going into every race. He seems to just sort of understand how to relax.
There seems to be a running joke about him bottling in the Discord chat.
See, we say that he bottles stuff. He doesn't bottle that often because
he's in that position to be at the front anyway.
Yeah,
obviously, which helps.
I mean, the fella, don't get me wrong, he's bottled it. He's bottled it a fair few times. But the thing is sometimes he can bottle it, and then he'll start he'll have a bad qualifying or something. He'll bottle qualifying and he'll start P13, P14. By the end of lap 5, he's P5.
He's the one in Australia. He fought back for third after the spin up after the safety car. So
yeah,
I think it was a bit harsh. The Discord chat. I think it's all good natured.
Yeah, well, we have to make fun of him for something.
So 14 out of the 16 already set a lap. DFC Jack, I think, invalidated his. And I don't think Jimmy Jags has come out yet.
No, no, Jimmy Jags is one lap wonder. Trust me.
Ah, he's playing one-shot qualifier.
Yeah. So we shall just watch on with Kavchak as he heads into Sector 2 now, comfortably. Got the Ferrari in front of him. That's what that yellow flag is for, just letting him through.
Yeah, he's just going slow, get out of the way, yep.
So he is on an in-lap. That is Never Fear Andy's hit. Surprisingly, I think it's the only team that hasn't changed driver lineups between seasons is Ferrari. They've kept their two drivers. They didn't want to leave, clearly. And they're a good duo. Whilst they don't see each other very often on the track, they are a good duo.
Andy was battling in the midfield for most of the race in Australia.
Yeah, definitely over the last season, Andy has massively improved. And that's Kavchak
wide,
very wide.
And he's going to abort. And he's off into the pits.
Switch to a fresh set of tyres. Try again. Other than that, we've got other drivers now leaving. Once again, Quick Killers will be the first of those to get across the line, with that sim guy going out just after him. Currently, Aero Blake also putting in a pretty decent shift as well, and our Henson, as per usual, up in the midst of the front runners.
We've got Aidan Gray on a quick lap. I think he's 3/10 down. And he's on his way back into the pit. I noticed some people try to do the two back-to-back laps, back-to-back hot laps, but often don't have the battery power for that if you're using the hot lap ERS setting.
Yeah, that is a big struggle of it. The hot lap in this game takes up about 60% of your battery.
Yeah.
So once you come across the line with just like 30% battery, you haven't got the battery to go for another lap.
It's handy if you bottle or invalidate halfway, quickly switch it off, harvest the rest of the lap and go again. But
yeah, exactly.
That's speaking as somebody who invalidates or goes off quite a lot.
So pretty much everyone currently on their second flyer. Killiger's going to come across. He's going to close the gap up, but he is going to stay in position. That sim guy
had a bit of a purple come up on the track map there.
That sim guy invalidated his lap, so he will have to wait for a little while to get his second lap in.
Yes, I'm keeping an eye on Mr. Cookie. He's 4/10 up in the second sector.
Looking very strong.
This could be a danger for Jay Hoyer's lap here.
Over the hill and down into the deep braking zone. It's one of the heaviest braking zones of the lap.
Around it goes, just a little bit wide.
It's okay, it pushes him up to P2.
Oh, he's second,
after a very decent lap. And Jay Horse having to come into the pits as well. He also invalidated, the same as that sim guy. And invalidated, so he'll have to wait again. Our Henson also on an invalid lap as per right now. Error Blake just coming into turn 1.
Canicol is pitting.
Which on board Hazard on a flyer coming into the final sector. Or well and truly in the final sector.
Oh, somebody's round. Chaz Knight Rider has spun. He's had a little spin. Hopefully he got out of everybody's way. We've got a couple of cars coming past him now.
Hazard also elected to come into the pit, so a lot of drivers heading into the pits now.
And our Henson is up to 4th, 1:16.3.
Yeah, I don't think he improved on that time, and Rick has just pulled in front of him there.
It was Rick that went up. I
Yeah.
saw a jump on the leaderboard.
Yeah, Rick made the move.
Rick, yeah, 1:16.2.
Can watch Aero Blake though. I think he's on a flyer by the looks of it. He's pushing clearly.
1.5 over. I just caught that.
Yeah, no movement there. 2 seconds down, so he might be changing, might be doing the same strategy as you and waiting for the second lap to hit the flyer. I would say is the case.
And he's gone round. Those sausage curbs at Imola, they're dangerous.
Dangerous.
They are dangerous. He was pushing too hard round the chicane.
Never fear around his here. That might be. I think he's just had an incident with mechanical coal heading through the first chicane as he just runs onto the gravel trap there. That might be investigated.
I think that may have been avoiding Aero Blake as well, because that was the same bit of racetrack that Aero Blake spun on, so it could have been to do with that.
This is another man. J Horse is now back on another outlap.
Fast and Furious with only 18 minutes. There's always somebody out on track.
Yeah, always is, always is.
Rick's back out as well. Or has he just gone an in lap? Yeah, he's on an in lap. He's 10 seconds. Or maybe not, because he's gone round again. Let's see what he's sector 1. Yeah, he's 1.2 seconds over. So he'll be aborting that and going into the pits, I think.
Shall watch current pole position. Mr. Cookie pretty much begging him to not set a faster lap time, but will he listen? I highly doubt so.
Jack still yet to set a time. He's on a red again. He's invalidated again this time.
Yeah, he's a 10th up at the moment, so he'll have to claw back time in the second and third sector if he wants to continue this lap. By the looks of it, he's not crunching out that much ERS. However, he is still depleting, so he must still be flying. Again.
Crazy Dutchman has gone purple in that second sector there. Let's see how he gets on as he comes up now.
Just about to come across the line. He moves up to P9.
1:16.9. He's
J
in the
Horse
top 10.
pulls into the pits once again. He's not happy with that lap whatsoever, so he has aborted that lap.
Oh, round he goes, Crazy Dutchman. Exactly the same place as Aero did a couple of laps ago. He spun it round on those sausage curves.
Yeah. And we've got Hazard on a flying lap. I saw purple sector 1 there, so we'll watch with him, because this might be a pretty decent lap here. He's going to come across. He is a 10th up on his time, so he could. He'll have to work quite hard to be able to surpass that sim guy, but he might just manage it.
Use as much of that curb as you dare on the outside. And he goes
P4. That's a quick time for him, other than Mr. Cookie and J Horse. Very close in that qualifying group from P3 down to P7, and he's nearly topped it. Rick might have to reply 10, that.
The top 10 all within a second and a tenth.
Yeah, it's a close
sub
one.
117. It's very good.
It's just notably that gap between Mr. Cookie and Rick right now, as I think Mr. Cookie is just hitting a flying lap now. So we'll watch on board, because this could be an opportunity to get a provisional pole position for him. It'll be exactly where he'll want to be for the race. However, this might be his final opportunity to do so. He might not be able to get in time to do another lap. So then it'll just be down to whether J Horse completes a lap or not.
There'll be people coming back out onto the track, I think, now. As R. Henson has gone pole.
That is an unexpected speed.
115.6.
Really bringing out the pace now. That's almost dropped.
That is incredible.
That is a very, very good lap, and that's going to have to be responded to. And it's only going to really be responded by 2 people, if at all anybody. Mr. Cookie, 0.274 seconds up on his time as of right now through sector 2. Just coming into the final sector now. He's got 2 more corners to go. Can he bring it back onto the front row? So long as he doesn't mess up, he'll comfortably be on the front row. But is it going to be a pole position for him? It doesn't look like he's mucked up at all as he comes across, opens up DRS. He's going to come across the line. He's going to go pole. Only just.
115.6.
It's a close one. It's only 0.063 seconds between the two 600s.
What a good lap.
So he's going to have to really.
What a good lap. And someone else has gone up the list. That Sim guy, 116.0, up to 4th.
J Horse, 3.5 tenths off. He's on his outlap currently. This is probably going to be,
and he's on an outlap as well.
This is most likely going to be one of the only men that can knock him off. He's not used to starting on the second row. He is very much a front row man, but is it going to be that way for him today?
The other Mercedes has now set a time, CFC Jack. He's down the bottom end, but at least he's managed to set a time without invalidating.
That is all that matters.
Everybody's now on the leaderboard at least. But who's going to be at the front? All comes down to this last minute and a half or so.
Here he goes. So let's take you round the lap with J Horse. You come down the main straight that isn't very straight. It's a long left-hand kink. Remember George Russell and Valtteri Bottas. They didn't even make it into turn 1 with that little incident in the wet.
That Sim guy with a 116.2 doesn't improve that time.
Nope, and that will probably be his last lap because they'll be now 3 laps old. It's then through 2 chicanes and a small hill. And only just in camber left-hander.
And that is time.
Definitely a difficult one.
And the McLaren just made it within a second over the line to start another lap.
So he'll be one of the last people to come across the line. Mercedes just getting out of the way for him.
McLaren is 7th. He's not improved.
Let's check the Delta time. J Horse is down on his time at the moment by a second, so I don't think much is going to happen here. But he did purple out sector 2.
He's only a 10th down.
He's a 10th down, and I don't think 4 tenths through these 2 corners is particularly possible, especially when you run that wide. And I think that is him backing out of the lap. Yes, pulls into the pit lane. That is J Horse done, finished. Which means it is a confident pole position.
Quick Killers, how is Quick Killers? More is half a second up. He'll be moving up the order a little bit.
Yeah, quite a lot actually. He might move himself into P8.
The next one coming over the line,
yes,
and
P8.
he has done 8. He's done 8.
We'll watch on board. Chaz Knight Rider will be the last driver to come across. He sets a time that keeps him in P3, so it's now just waiting for the pit lane boys to get put into place. But that means qualifying is now over. Mr. Cookie has got that pole position that I said that he would be in the running for, and R. Henson with a surprisingly close second place. Just 600ths in between those two, and then it's a big gap down to current championship leader J Horse, who is looking to get another step on the podium. Well, he's currently on it at the moment, but you've got 32 laps of racing to go, and I'll do the full rundown once you've got the leaderboard, because I've no chance of me remembering that.
It's just, yeah, it gives you about 30 seconds to run through it.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. So we can do like the top 3, and then that's about it. So you got Mr. Cookie on that pole position with the Alfa Romeo team, and then R. Henson in the Williams. J Horse rounds out the top 3 in the Ferrari, and Ricky V rounds out the front 2 rows in the Haas. Then it's that same guy in the Mercedes and Hazard in the Aston Martin, Aero Blake McLaren and Quick Killers in Williams. And then it's Aiden, Chaz Knight Rider, Crazy Dutchman, Never Fear as Andy here, Alexis Sanchez, Mechanical Cole, Calf Jack, Jimmy Jags, and that rounds out the order. And I am really early. Usually I finish as the screen goes blank, but that one was surprisingly quick.
Yeah, very good. I tried to go bottom to top the last time and then missed half the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah.
Live and learn.
Now, I cannot lie, I am not too certain what the strategy call is for Imola. Whether it's a medium hard or
Well, have we seen the weather forecast?
I haven't. What have you seen?
I haven't, but I'm always weary of rain to change things at Imola.
That
It's
is
one of
everything.
those tracks.
So
Doesn't look rainy.
nice.
Judging by my pit lane view, it looks sunny.
That's a lovely and dry track, isn't it? R. Henson, incredibly impressed at having himself and Mr. Cookie on the front row. Mr. Cookie is saying how he's never felt so fast in his life. Quick Killers doesn't think that he can drive the track. Mechanical Cole, so apparently I'm not as fast as I was on 21 here. So he's slowed down a little bit since the last time either.
I think I found Imola the opposite. I found it on 21 I'd spin a lot, and on this one not so much. Here we go then.
Right, out
Formation
for the
lap
formation
first, of
lap.
course. Hopefully no game glitches.
No, that's the last thing you want, isn't it? Especially with the amount of them at the moment, it's definitely not something you can completely and utterly call off.
They do seem to be working a bit quicker on things people complain about now. There's been a couple of patches in the last week or so.
Yeah, the amount of times by different leagues I've been told, update your game, please.
A lot of this most recent one's to do with AIs, I think.
Yeah, they're so fast on a straight, aren't they? You can't really do anything about them.
Don't really have much experience playing with the AIs because I'm always involved with leagues or just open lobbies and things. So.
Yeah, as I play a fair amount of career modes, and I kind of just haven't this year because it was almost impossible to race with them.
Yeah, I liked the story mode last year. I thought that was quite good.
That was, yeah. It's a shame that they didn't do sort of anything to continue it.
I've read somewhere on the internet they're going to do a new one next year, and they're going to incorporate the women's series as well.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure that's just internet rumours at the moment.
Yeah, bringing in W series before F3. That doesn't quite make much sense.
It would be the politically correct thing to do.
It would be the politically correct, but yeah, obviously F3 is the much faster of the two.
Oh, absolutely. But I mean, you could have the same argument with FIFA not bringing in the conference and bringing in the women's football instead.
Yeah.
But we won't go down that political correctness route. We've got a disqualification already. Aidan Gray has been reset to the grid.
Yeah, nothing major. It'll just be a little bit more chilly tyres at the start of turn one. So you'll just have to make sure to be nice and careful into turn one and to really not
we'll
mess up at all.
My guess is 4 or 5 more DQs on parking.
Yeah, it's always a difficult one.
I find it quite difficult myself.
So some people can just park really well in this game. Others really struggle.
I purple the pit lane every time, but the parking on the grid, very rare that I get it.
Now let's see if they angle it at all, because you're quite angled in on this track.
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Cookie did try to angle it, but he got reset. R. Henson is going to try a little bit of angle. Yes, he's not heading straight down the end of the track.
How many more?
Big angle for J-Horse. J-Horse practically facing turn one.
We had 6 disqualified, I think, on that.
And that's pretty decent
Interesting.
going
Here
as we go to 5 red lights, and it's a long one before we get away, and it's not the best of starts for Mr. Cookie, but I think it's just going to about keep him into first place, and it's a terrible one for our Henson, and that means we got J-Force comfortably up into second place as we head into turn 1, and it's going to try and be a move for Rick as he picks up P3, and it's big run-off for our Henson. He's had an absolute terrible start.
I think. Alexis Sanchez went wide on the sausage curve.
We go side by side into the chicane. Aeroblade comfortably getting past our Henson. Our Henson all the way down into P5 after just a couple of, just a third of a lap, if that. He has had an absolutely terrible start. Big gains for Kafjak though. He's up 4 positions from his starting place.
Sanchez was the one who I think spun. He's managed to catch the field up, so he may not have completely spun. He was caught on the inside on the opening corner, and those sausage curves just unforgiving as we saw in qualifying.
Now, I think the one thing Mr. Cookie didn't want is to, by the end of the first lap, be looking in his rear mirrors and seeing that bright red Ferrari.
He has already got a second gap though.
But he has got a second gap. He is clearly driving with exceptional pace today, and he'll just be hoping to keep this pace up and to keep himself comfortably in the lead of this race. As you can see, just further back, we've got these 3 drivers here, Rick, Aero and our Henson, all very close to one another. They'll be fighting it out for P3. That sim guy just on the tail of them as well, and it's big moves in. Quick Killer's having to defend his
dive.
Quick Killer
makes a big dive and makes it stick on Chaz Knight Rider, and he's going for,
he's going to go. He
had
a little look. He had a little look at Hazard, but he decided against it. But he's going to take it on a bad exit of Hazard. Nailed that move, and Hazard's now having to defend massively against Chaz Knight Rider.
Well.
Comfortably keeps it though. Great little bit of defending for him.
Jimmy Jags at the back. You never know what to watch at the beginning of a race, as Crazy Dutchman could be making a move now on Jack, who went wide, and he's also got a Ferrari right up his bum. That's Andy. And Sanchez and Mechanical are exchanging.
It's also quite close at the front as well, and that is a yellow flag.
That is Crazy Dutchman.
Crazy Dutchman.
Crazy Dutchman.
Sent to the back of the grid because of that. Mr. Cookie had fastest lap for a split second before J-Horse nicks it. That time now is down to 8/10.
Gets the first penalty.
It'll be DRS for J-Horse if it continues like this down the main straight next time round. We could see a fight within about 3 laps minimum, or maximum really, by the way pace is looking at the moment. J-Horse looking very pacey after heating those tyres up.
Sector 1, it's Aiden Gray.
That is
Aiden Gray.
Both AlphaTauri
having a terrible time.
An absolute mare, yeah.
He's already picked up a penalty and now he's dropped down to 12th. And never fear, Andy's here, has got past Jack into the top 10.
Now watching up to sort of between P3 and P6, they're running in tandem.
Out. I think Crazy Dutchman has stopped again. He's had another incident.
It was
right at the back.
It was a big move into the slow chicane by that sim guy, but he's managed to get himself past our Henson. That's up into P5. The Williams though, really having absolutely none of it. He's on the medium tyres rather than that sim guy's hard, so I'm surprised that that sim guy's managed to get past. However, that means our Henson will have lots of grip coming out this final corner, and with DRS this time round, he might be able to make a move.
I think Jack has left the session. He was either desynced or something's gone there. As we watch Henson go up the inside, lovely move.
That sim guy once again demoted back down to P6, but it's a question for just
Rick's had an accident. Rick's in the gravel. So our Henson's back up to 4th, and Rick's dropping down the order now, and Andy's going to overtake him as well. Oh, Rick's off again. Rick's in the gravel.
That's probably down to
properly hot tyres. I'm sure, yeah.
Very hot tyres.
Yeah, he's right down now to
completely
14.
and utterly gone. So that is
Jack
the
is
last
in the
thing
pits. I don't know if he's been he seems to be ghosting, so
There might be a bit of
I
damage.
think he's desynced. He's in the pits, but he's ghosting. It did pop up that he'd left the session, so
Yeah, that
I
might
don't know
be
if
the, that
someone
might
wants
be
to
the
try and get him
AI.
back in.
The
Yeah,
AI.
he's on AI now. And Crazy Dutchman's also in the pits. I think he had an accident. He's going to end up being about a lap down.
And now we need to watch on board
Up
towards
the
the front of the grid. We've got 3 drivers in very
Three of
close
them.
tandem. Mr. Cookie is probably going to have to try everything that he can to defend. He's on the mediums, same as J-Horse, but J-Horse has just got
J-Horse has got
DRS
so much
and
pace in the DRS
flies
and
past.
takes it.
Already he comfortably into first place before they
And
even hit
Crazy
the braking zone.
Dutchman is
And
out.
that is a stop
And
Alpha
that might be
Tauri.
a safety car. Yeah, that's Crazy Dutchman. He's just come out
Or
of
at
the
least
pits and he's
still just
binned it.
yellow flags.
Just yellow flags, but where that car was, it looked like
It looked like it was bound to
I
be,
thought
wasn't
it
it?
was going to be safety car, but it seems to be okay.
And now notice,
And-
out of these front runners here,
And Alexis
Aeroblade,
Sanchez has had a problem at the back. He's going slowly. I think he might have spun.
might possibly be a bit of
Right at the
damage.
back.
Looking at the
He's not quite
front,
right at the back.
yeah, looking at the
Jax.
front of the grid, Aeroblake is on the soft tyres in comparison to everyone around him on the mediums. So he should,
He needs to
he
make
should
that
be able
work.
to, he needs to be able to optimise these tyres right now, rather than waiting it out. It'll need to be pushing at this very moment in time.
With the one DRS zone, it's all about getting a run on that straight out the last corner. And up
Yeah,
down to the first
it's
chicane.
7 tenths between J-Horse and Mr. Cookie, so it might be a difficult one.
Mr.
to
Cookie's still
catch
going to
up at
have
this rate.
DRS to defend with, though.
Obviously,
of
he
course.
will. Yeah, he will still have that DRS. But if the gap continues to increase like this, next lap he
Yeah.
won't.
Yeah, correct. He'll need. I think he's needing that DRS to defend at the moment because Aero Blake, as you say, on the soft tyres is right on him.
He's got the pace at the moment. I think Aeroblake currently holds fastest lap. Yes, I am correct. It's a 129.1.
Rick and Aiden going side by side, and I think Aiden had to dive out of the corner and he's round. And it's a bad evening for Alpha Tauri. Aiden Gray is in the gravel trap. He was battling hard with Rick there, who's dropped right down the road after he was in the gravel a couple of times.
And that's
And
a
he's
penalty for him
He's
as
got
well.
a penalty on time.
And that's a DNF. I don't blame him, to be honest.
Has he got the hump on safety car?
And that is, yeah, that has caused a full lap safety car.
Has he got the hump and been and Quick Killers has spun and has got no front wing.
So this is a perfect opportunity for him to come in and get a fresh front wing and not suffer too many consequences. But now the question is, what kind of strategy calls are we going to have? We're going to have J-Horse and Aeroblake pull into.
Aeroblake's got a drive through. He's pushed the delta too much and he's got a drive through. That could kill his chances of a podium. He's going to have to serve that after the safety car when everyone's bunched up. That's a nightmare for him.
That is the worst thing that could have possibly happened for him. But quite a lot of people electing to come in now.
And some are staying out. The top five, top six are staying out. Jimmy Jags is now up to 6.
It's just a question. When you got J-Horse on the back of you and you're Jimmy Jags, you're not staying sick for very long.
Yeah. And of course it's the question, are you racing him or do you just get out of his way and race your own race?
Exactly. He'll be looking for... He'll be wanting sort of top 10 if
Absolutely,
he can.
yeah.
But at this point, it's going to slow
I'm not
you
sure.
down.
I didn't see what happened with Aiden Gray, but I know he was battling with Rick and he went off. Then got given a penalty. Then it very quickly came up.
I think that might have been an elected DNF.
Yes,
I think he might have chosen that
as well. So he might be in a little bit of trouble in the stewards room.
Yeah,
if
I think
that's the case.
I think if he's chosen to DNF that, then yes, he will be in trouble because you're supposed to DNF in the pit lane.
Yeah. Obviously, we didn't see it, so he may have just.
It may have been a crash. Yeah, we've got no idea.
While he was still racing. You you get frustrated and make a mistake. It happens, but yeah, one to look into maybe. But yes, not a good day if you're an AlphaTauri fan, as they're the only two cars that are out.
Yeah, unfortunately for the Red Bull team, they only came in with 2 of the 4 possible drivers, and those 2 drivers are the first 2 out. We're 8 laps of 32 right now, so we're a decent way into this race actually. I know those 2 numbers go together some way or another, but I'm not going to tell you the percentage because I've got no idea.
That would be 25. Quarter of the way through.
A quarter of the way, yep, that's right.
And Jack is back.
He has.
That's good news. Hopefully he can retake control of his car. He's at the back of the field at the moment. A bit of catching up to do, and hopefully we can get the safety car in and get on with the race. R. Henson has back up to second after the back up to where he started in second after the safety car.
Yeah. However, without a stop, the same as Mr. Cookie.
J-Horse is looking very, very nice here.
I think right now, in particular, Mr. Cookie, R. Henson and that sim guy are banking on the fact that there's going to be another safety car during this race. I think otherwise it would have been a really, really poor decision to have not come in. I think they're confident that there's going to be another safety car and that they can make these tyres work for a long enough time. I think they've also got the confidence of the fact that J-Horse and Aeroblake in particular have got to get past 1, 2, 3. They've got to get past 3 drivers before they can even start attacking.
Safety car in this lap.
It's a good opportunity for these boys to get away.
Really ruined his race because he's going to have to do the drive-through within 3 laps. So he's going to go right to the back of the field.
You can never discount it on a league race in F1. Anything can happen here, a little bit more than in real life. So whilst it may ruin the chances right now, it may not change forever. Mr. Cookie back in the field up. Yeah, as you say, he'll be ready to go. He's gone pretty early, and he's gone, and he's flown away half a second.
Because that sim guy is going to get second, I think.
Yeah, he's really caught R. Henson off guard there. They're going to run side by side down into turn 1. The Mercedes is going to have the inside line, but on the harder tyres, he won't quite have the grip of the Williams, but he does get the better exit because it is a big bump for R. Henson over the sausage curbs. That slows him down massively. That lets that sim guy through straight away.
Jimmy Jags has had a terrible start. He's right down to 11th.
Yeah, just not having the start of his life. It was a pretty desperate start.
Up to 5th, his teammates out of his way.
Moving up to 5th, yeah, that's team orders at its finest. And now Never Pirani's here is going to have to.
By Aero as well.
Yeah, very.
2 McLarens right behind him.
That'd be absolutely great defending by Andy. His job is now doing Fernando Alonso hungry.
Yeah.
Just defend.
Make a gap.
Make the biggest physical gap you can. And as you can see, he's just placing his car right in the middle of the track.
Jimmy Jags, I think, is the one who's had an accident.
Yeah, Jimmy Jags at the back of the grid now.
Yeah, he really had a nightmare there on the restart, and he's dropped to the back as Rick is going around the outside of Chaz Knight Rider.
He tried it, didn't quite pull off for him.
Didn't quite make it, but obviously DRS isn't on yet. After the restart, but he's right up on him. I'll keep watching as we come to the first corner. Rick's going to try and go the long way round the outside and makes it stick
comfortably. That is a great little move, and that's a big spin for Never Fear Andy's here.
Yeah.
Not what J-Horse would have wanted, not what either of the Ferraris would have wanted. J-Horse was really backing on him.
As well, I think.
Yeah, J-Horse was really backing on him in holding up Aeroblake, but Aeroblake is now just going to hunt him down. Obviously, he does have to pull into the pit lanes very soon, but they're on equal tyres at the moment, so it shouldn't be too quick of a gain. But Aeroblake right now just needs to push and try.
That's really going to upset his race, the drive-through.
And in my opinion, he should take it on the final lap. Just space the track out a little bit. He might just make it. You never know. It's a 3-second time penalty for Calf Jack. towards the front of the grid. Our Henson beginning to get dropped by that sim guy and Mr. Cookie as those two boys run away. Hazard as well, nicely spaced out, but he's got J-Horse. J-Horse flies through. He's going to have to go around the outside of Hazard if he's going to want to make this move stick. They head down into turn 1. It's still side by side. He does get it round the outside of turn 1, and turn 2 just cements him in place. Yes.
That sim guy is into the lead.
Made a late break move down into that second chicane, and he's managed to slip it through during the chicane. Comes out into first. So that is now.
Rick has got Hazard now as well.
Yeah, I think Hazard might have been just a little bit thrown off guard there, and that's just allowed Rick to sneak through. Mr. Cookie, though, keeping pace with that sim guy at the moment. He is on 10 lap old mediums, though. They've been going a long time, and it's...
We've got a yellow sector 2, and it's a Ferrari.
That's never Ferrari. He's here. Obviously, he had a nice little spin out of turn. Yeah, out of there. That sim guy picked up a 5-second time penalty. I did watch that. It was a corner cut. He braked a little bit too late, but he didn't quite slow down enough, and that's going to give him a 5-second time penalty for that. He'll be raging at himself right now, because
the ones that look good here are Jay Hawes and Rick, surely.
Yeah, it was an unfortunate one for him, because he had taken the corner a little bit too late. He had braked a little bit too late. He knew that he wasn't going to make it, so he tried to just cut the corner, but he didn't slow down enough, and the game's registered it as a corner cut.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it can be harsh with the track limit sometimes if you don't gain an advantage.
Yeah,
it can be very harsh, as I know from racing in France on Monday. The best place for penalties, France.
Oh yeah, massively. With all that runoff, it's impossible to not pick up one.
Trying to enter the pit lane in France without getting a penalty is hard enough. Jimmy Daggs is stacking the penalties up a little bit. Let's see what he's got now.
6 seconds, same as Alexis.
Yeah. I thought I'd seen his name run more than that.
You always think that. Other than that, it's surprisingly close out on track, but with very little action at the moment.
Do we think Jay Hawes and Rick are going to get to the end on these hard tyres?
It's going to be a push, to say the least. They're going to be old, they're going to be warm.
Already, 5-6 laps old already.
They're going to be about 25 laps old by the time they get to the end. Probably about 25 laps old. So it's going to be a real big push. However, I think they're also banking on another safety car towards the end of the race, so they can just switch to a fresh set of softs for the last sort of 6-7 laps, or fresh set of mediums for the last 10, 11, 12, and just go from there, and it will be a pretty easy win if they do that. But that sim guy, Mr. Cookie R. Henson, banking on a safety car within sort of the next 5, 6, 7 laps time to be able to really work their strategy.
He's got a bit longer.
Yeah, because he's on the hard tyres. He can go for another 8, 9, 10 laps if he wants.
Jay Hawes is now right up behind R. Henson as Jack picks up another penalty.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me whatsoever. He has caught up comfortably.
Henson has also caught up with Mr. Cookie.
Yeah.
And Alexis Sanchez has got another penalty.
This is now a fight for P2, isn't it? These three drivers.
It's very much a three-way fight. And
Jay Horse gets a great run on the back of R. Henson.
He's got past him before he's even got to the chicane.
Can he make it work? Can he do the double overtake? No, R. Henson's trying to have a little go at him there.
Mr. Cookie was
and he spun it.
He's round. He's round. He just tried to take liberties on the inside of the corner.
Yeah, and pushed it a little too hard there.
It's the sausage curbs, unforgiving. He tried to do 2 for the price of 1, and to be fair, Mr. Cookie positioned his car absolutely perfectly to defend, right in the middle, so he couldn't go one side, he couldn't go the other, and he still tried to make a dive. He maybe could have dived out of that one, and he's now down to 9th.
But it's only lap 14 of 32. We've
Oh,
still got
still to
over
happen.
half of the race to go, so you can't count out anyone just yet.
And of course, now who's looking prettier than most? That man Rick.
Yep.
Who's in third. Amongst all that commotion, he must have got our Henson as well.
Yeah, I think so.
Because he's now chasing after Mr.
dropped back
Cookie.
a little bit. I think he had a bit of a having to slow down at that incident, which I think
Yeah,
allowed
there
Rick
was
through.
an incident, wasn't there? And then Andy's in trouble again. I think it's a Ferrari anyway. Yeah,
Yeah,
Andy's
back on
off
the grid.
again. He's not having a good day. That's, I think, the third or fourth time he's been off. He's not having a good time.
No, not at all.
Was it? I'm not sure. Was he one of the ones who said he wouldn't have a good time at Imola?
I think he might have been, you know.
There were a few.
That wouldn't surprise me.
We're close in the midfield at the moment. Jay Hawes is trying to make up for his mistakes. He's chasing Mechanical now for 8th place. With
Yeah,
Chaz Knight Rider just up the road.
He'll be a man on the mission as of right now, but I think he's going to quite enjoy it. You know, he said last race he sort of led from start to finish, and it was a bit boring. He said he wanted a bit of action, and I think he's sort of given itself to him. But at the same time, he was like, you know what, it was quite nice not having to
Couple at the
actually
back
do much.
pitting. Jimmy Jags and Andy are pitted and have put new hards on. They will now surely keep those to the end of the race, barring any safety cars.
Yeah, I don't think there's any reason to change now, unless of course safety car or a VSC. But gaps beginning to open. Rick getting through
Rickie's up to second.
Yeah, that's because Mr.
yes,
Cookie and our Henson have come into the pit lane,
pitted.
so they've decided they're the two medium runners, aren't they?
They
So
were
they've
the two
had to come
medium
up
runners
pit.
in the lead.
They didn't really have a choice but to pit. But that gives that sim guy a 5-second respite to anyone else on the grid.
And Alexis Sanchez speeding in the pit lane, 5-second penalty.
That's one of the errors that's so avoidable.
That sim guy, of course, 5 seconds ahead, but has a 5-second penalty.
Yep. So
in net terms, Rick is right on his gearbox.
However, I think that sim guy is still...
Oh, somebody's had an accident.
That is that is either Mr.
And
Cookie.
Alfa Romeo, that's Alexis Sanchez, I think.
No, I think that's Mr. Cookie.
Or was it Mr. Cookie? Yes, his front wing's gone. His front wing's gone just as he's left the pits.
That's an Alpine
It's a
as well.
nightmare for him.
Mechanical Cole spinning on that sort of uphill left-hander.
And Jack's up to 7th. We've not mentioned him. He was at the back at the start.
He's snuck his way up, hasn't he?
He's snuck his way up to 7th. Jay Hawes is now chasing down Chaz Knight Rider. And he's going to have DRS, but is Chaz also going to have DRS to defend? He is. Jack gets another penalty. He might be ruining his points position by getting too many of those. As the three abreast come up, Hazard, followed by Chaz, followed by Jay Hawes.
Currently sat on 9 seconds of penalties, so it's not looking too good for him.
Sanchez, he's going to have more. I think he's winning the penalties battle. And Mr. Cookie's pitting again. Front wing damage just after it came out of the pits. That's going to really ruin his chances.
Yeah, he wasn't in the best of moods to begin with, so I mean, okay, yeah, he was surprised at least.
And Jay Hawes is having a little look. No, there's nothing going on there. I don't think he wants to be too ambitious after his previous misdemeanor.
Oh,
he's going to bide his time.
Mr. Cookie has had a power cut.
Fastest lap.
Right, so Mr. Cookie is currently an AI. He's had a power cut.
Oh no. That Simba just set a new fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, as
and
you can see,
his hard tyres are just coming into their own.
He's now 6.6 seconds in front of Rick. He's now absolutely flying on those hard tyres.
He's on the oldest tyres.
Yeah, on some of the oldest tyres, and yet.
And Chaz gets a 3-second penalty for for track limits, trying to defend too hard, and now J-Horse does make the move. He's giving him room around the outside, and he's going to make that move stick.
Only just
so
though.
J-Horse up to
Chaz
fifth.
Knight Rider might be able to try a little switchback here, but he doesn't quite achieve it.
Yeah, it was good from them too. They left each other a lot of room there.
Yeah,
J-Horse
both very,
obviously weary after crashing before.
both very
Mr.
clean
Cookie
drivers
drops
with one
down
another.
to 14. Obviously,
Yeah,
his AI,
he is now
Andy's
just
overtaken
AI.
him. Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, after such a strong qualifying for him, completely and utterly setting aside what he thought he was capable of, it's really unfortunate to then just get a power cut in the middle of a race. I know what it's like. My internet's gone down 3 minutes before a start of a race. And
Yeah.
it's painful to
Yeah,
say the least, because
horrible.
it's completely out of your
Absolutely.
hands. You
Yeah.
can't even blame yourself for it. It's just, yeah, it's one of the
Chaz
worst
Knight
things that can
Rider
happen.
now is having a little look to try and get J-Horse back again with the DRS.
And the first
he's gonna
blue
dive, he's
flag,
looking to dive
yeah,
up
he
the
had a little look.
inside.
He had a
Oh, he
peek,
had a look.
elected not to do it. That sim
It's
guy
left
now
it.
getting the first blue flags. It is of course for Mr. Cookie, but first blue flags are being waved 19 laps in.
Mr. Cookie and then Andy just up the road. I'm not sure. Are they set to ghost lapping cars or not? I'm not sure. Oh, and then someone's had a problem. It's Jack.
Arrow and Jack. Yeah.
Jack is in the gravel. I saw it was a Mercedes, and for a second I thought it was the leader, just as we were talking about him coming up to lap people. But no, it's Jack, and he's now down to 10th. Oh, he spun again. His tyres are burned out. He's scorched his tyres, and now he's going to have to really crawl around for a little while because they're going to be on fire.
Yeah, it's he
Really
will
hard once you spin once.
to not go again.
Oh, he's gone again. He's going backwards. And Mr. Cookie has rejoined, which is good.
At that point, what you really got to do is you really got to just try and reset yourself, because if you just keep going in with the same mentality, you're just going to keep spinning again and again and again.
Yeah.
J-Horse now coming up on the back of the Aston Martin of Hazard.
Yeah, Jack spun again. He's literally like Bambi on ice at this point. And you've just seen Jimmy Jags go by him now, and Andy as well. He's going to drop right to the rear of the field as he's lapped by his teammate. I'm just going to keep an eye on him as he's causing yellow flags all over the track at the moment. His tyres are absolutely on fire, and he spun again. And it's...
I'm terribly sorry, you can hear me. My headset just disconnected. Back in though, I can hear everything again. And he's now right on the back, isn't he? He's closed down another 2.5 tenths, and he might not even wait for DRS. He's going to go for it here. He's going to. Oh no, he had a little look. He is going to wait for DRS though. Coming round.
I was just keeping an eye on Jack. He's gone right back to the rear of the field. He spun about 4 times. It's just not. Oh, he's gone again, I think.
Yeah, it's not going to be a difficult one for J-Horse here. He gets past before they even hit the left-hander. Yeah. This is now just him catching up to quick killers to get himself back into a podium position after that spin that demoted him down to 9th, if I'm correct.
Yeah, he was about 8th or 9th, yeah. After the incident with Mr. Cookie, Jack he's made it to the pits, and he's coming back out on soft tyres. He's, I'm sure, just hoping for enough people to crash out so they can get in the top 10.
Yeah,
I've been in that position myself. That sim guy is really extending these hard tyres. He's now nearly 9 seconds ahead of Rick,
and
they're 20 laps old. The only thing though, as long as that sim guy can stay out, it indicates that Rick will be able to do the same on the hard tyres that he pitted under the safety car, so he'll be able to go to the end.
Yeah, he will. He'll be able to go to the end on those tyres. Obviously, if something or another comes along, like a safety car, then obviously
course
he's
it
going to change
changes,
them.
yeah.
But if nothing comes along, then he might,
He's in a
he
good
might be able to
position
do
to
it,
win.
You know, we've got another, well, we've still got another 9 laps to go. So there'll be 24, 25 laps old by the time he crosses the line. And that'll be the same for Quick Killers and J-Horse. So if there's no safety cars left, then
Here
we've
comes
got
Chaz
3
Knight Rider
drivers.
on Hazard. Hazard, of course, is also on the same tyres he started the race on. And Chaz is right on him now.
Yeah, desperate to get past. You could clearly see him. He was catching up over the last couple of laps. He's going to have a little look to the inside, possibly here. Big saving from Hazard, big ERS saving. You can see that flashing on the back of his car, those LEDs.
Quick Killers picks up a penalty.
Yeah, but if Chaz Knight Rider doesn't make a move now, I think it's going to be a comfortable one into that DRS zone. You can be sort of 6-7 tenths back and you're still getting them before you even hit the brakes. It's a really, really powerful DRS zone here, and I think he might just have this in the bag easily. Because that sim guy has now extended his gap 9 seconds.
And
so
never fear, Andy's here just overtakes Jimmy Jags.
Once again.
And oh, Hazard just had a wobble when he nearly spun. And he's pitting, I think, now. I just was watching Chaz about to get the DRS out of the last corner, and Hazard had a big wobble and nearly ended up in the wall, and he is now pitting. So the leader is now the only one. Interestingly, he's pitted for mediums.
So he's
with only
reckoning
9 laps left, not trusting the softs.
Yeah, it's a surprising move to make, isn't it? But he's gone for the mediums. And I think at the same time, you know, if you have a spin or something, they're not going to wear as much, and you will still have strong tyres to finish this race. So I think whilst he may have backed the softs, he might not have backed the people around him on the softs.
Mr. Cookie picks up another penalty and overtakes Jimmy Jags, and Jack with the fastest lap of the race in last place.
Yeah, that
and he's got the fastest lap.
That is actually Mr. Cookie now. He's back again.
Yeah.
He's got himself fired
up.
And
Henson is right on to Mechanical now.
Yeah, so it's been a really topsy-turvy race for our Henson, but he just wants to make the most of it now. He'll just want to try and get that place if he possibly can, but I think after that, it's such a big gap to the next man. This is really his only opportunity to get some extra points, so he'll be desperate to get some. That sim guy has now finally broken that 10-second barrier on track. Obviously 5-second barrier.
Only one penalties. To not pit now after Hazard has pitted, as Alexis Sanchez is collecting those like Christmas cards now, those penalties, unfortunately. Henson with the DRS is going to have a look
to the
inside, is he? He had a look. He's forced Mechanical wide. We then forced him back wide. Mechanical got a penalty for it.
He'll be absolutely raging because of that, because he managed to he did everything right in forcing Mechanical Cole to almost mess up and take that wide exit, but then just how drastically he came back onto the track and forced our Henson to take that evasive action and just protecting himself.
Now he's going to have to bide his time until the DRS next time round, I think.
And that sim guy going for another lap on these hard tyres. He's really making these last as long as he possibly can. And I don't blame him. He's still pulling away. Even with such old hards, he's still got the speed. But at the moment...
Rick's just coming up to lap someone.
Rick at the moment, I think he's in a DRS of a drive... back mark.
Yeah,
he's in the DRS.
Lapping somebody.
Which is why he's just clawed down 4 tenths, if you were wondering.
Absolutely, yeah.
But as it stands, you can see even now, as soon as Rick has gotten past him, it's no longer in DRS.
Here we go again.
Pulling away again.
Henson on Mechanical this time. This time he's got the DRS is a lot closer.
He's going to slip to the inside. He's got the move done before braking. Yeah, that's exactly what he'd have wanted, and we're going to have to look towards the front of the grid now. We have a fight for a podium position. J-Horse is now coming on the back of Quick Killers. This could be one of his only opportunities to get a podium position, because then it's another 6-second gap to Rick. So, He'll be trying to make the absolute most out of this, but he will also try and take it cautiously and wait for a mistake, just like that. Quick Killers had a big wobble out of the exit of the chicane, and that has just allowed J-Horse to bring that gap in real close. He's now just 3/10 behind him. As soon as he gets DRS, he's going to have the braking done before, and that Sim guy pulling into the pits. He's gone for soft tyres. Unsurprisingly, there wasn't really much questioning what sort of tyres he was going to go for. Hazard, yeah, picking up another 3-second tyre penalty, and big collision! That rings real.
J-Horse and Quick Killers. As Chaz Knight Rider is also ahead of that Sim guy who's coming out.
And that is wing damage for J-Horse. That is big wing damage for J-Horse. He has got his front left end brake.
Lucky if he didn't get any.
By the looks of it, Quick Killer's front wing is all still in place, actually.
He'll be very lucky if he didn't get any damage, because that was a big shunt.
I would not be surprised if that's investigated after the end of that race, because that did give me quite similar to George Russell and Valtteri Bottas vibes.
Yeah.
Big time. So it'll be really interesting to see what comes out of that.
Let's see how that
whether there is a penalty.
Served his 5-second penalty in the pits. So
he is now completely clean.
So he's free of everything, and he's right behind Aero Blake.
He's got 8 laps of racing to go. I reckon if he's lucky,
and
he
no
can
penalties.
take 4th. I think he can take 4th comfortably, but I think a podium's going to be a bit of a push for him today.
I think he might be able to get a podium depending on penalties.
I think if Quick Killers has a problem with penalties once again, and you can see now J-Horse is actually slowing down drastically. He's coming into the pit lane. So that is pretty much J-Horse's podium dreams over, which could give the possibility of that Sim guy taking a podium here, because if he can get within 3 seconds of Cat Rider, making that easy as pie move there. Not really a problem for him
tires. He's going to absolutely fly. They're a
completely and utterly fresh set of soft tyres. He was guaranteed to make that move work.
He's absolutely
going to
fly.
All he's got to do is get within 3 seconds of Chaz Knight Rider.
Right down to 9th.
Yeah, he's gone. He's completely out of this race, really.
But he's on soft, so he'll fancy claiming a couple of positions possibly. And again, no penalties.
Claw a few up.
So he'll hope
especially considering there is quite a few penalties in front of him.
He'll hope to close some gaps.
That Sim guy pretty much now in a podium position. He's only got to do another 7/10 up to Chaz Knight Rider, and then he's on the podium.
Oh, he's closing like a second and a half, 2 seconds a lap.
Yeah, so he's pretty much got a podium as of right now.
He's going to pass Chaz Knight Rider on track, I think.
They're 20-lap-old hard tyres.
Chase down Quick Killers as well.
He might be able to get P2 here, If he can keep these soft tyres running at this pace, he's going to come across the line now, and he's going to take fastest lap. That's guaranteed. Pretty much. I think he was
what I said before the race. That man Rick just quietly going about his business. Yeah, there's the fastest lap. 1:16.9. That's almost quali pace. That.
Well, yeah, we saw quali was about 1:16.3, wasn't it? If I'm correct.
15,
did it sneak into the 15?
Pole.
Oh, it did sneak into the 15.
15.6 was pole.
Oh, I don't have that good memory, I cannot lie. But no, that Sim guy now right on the back of him. He's right on the back of Chaz already. That is outrageous. And he's now, he's already caught Chaz.
They're only 5 seconds behind Quick Killers as well.
Yeah, I mean...
So, he's absolutely flying. If there were 5 laps extra, I'd say be catching Rick.
Yeah. Yeah,
absolutely
with this pace.
Flying with the soft tyres. And he's having a look.
I think whilst he'll be desperate to get past as soon as possible, it's just so much more logical to take the DRS. I know it's a couple of corners earlier. However, look at that. He's already got him done. Well, he's already got him done, and he hasn't just come across the line.
Yeah.
So obviously having DRS is such a big help.
So now 5 seconds to chase Quick Killers. But how many penalties has Quick Killers got?
He only has 5 seconds, but Quick Killers has a 3-second time penalty. And that Sim guy has binned it.
Chaz, he's bowled.
He's binned it.
We looked to Ray for a minute and he's bowled. We were talking about him chasing second place.
Bigging him up so much.
Jay
and
Hawes
he's
has just took the fastest lap as
yeah,
well.
that doesn't surprise me. He's on a fresh set of soft tyres as well. And after all, being P2 on the grid, you knew he was going to take fastest lap.
I think Mr. Cookie has pitted, he's pitted again. He's out of the points. He might try and have a go for fastest lap as well.
What an utter shake-up of a race this has been. It's gone from being quite a stable race to all of a sudden, no one can keep the car on the track. Except for a couple of boys that are at the top and fully deserving of it, to be honest. You know, they haven't been the fastest today. That's definitely been that sim guy, J Horse, and even Mr. Cookie when he was in the running. Yeah. But they've kept it consistent. And that is why they're at the top. Evidently,
we barely mentioned the McLarens at all.
No, the McLarens
obviously had that incident earlier on.
Yeah, I mean, the McLarens have spent most of their time in
with
the
J-Bores.
They've been in the middle, digging deep.
Yeah, they've just gone round, just stayed out of the way.
They've just kept it clean. And also, notably, they've stayed together the entire race.
Yeah.
They started together and they've finished together. And they've worked with each other, working off each other's DRS to get such a good position with just 2 laps to go.
Up to 8th. I said he'd make some moves in the closing stages. He's just overtaken Mechanical and he's up to 8th and 4 seconds behind Hazard.
Out of turn 1 he has made it stick.
With some penalties he might still be going up a few more.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking at the penalties behind in front of him, they're both 3 seconds.
They're both 3 seconds, so he's already technically well, not quite, but he's almost getting Hazard. And then
yeah, I think
possibly
he could possibly take P60, you know.
Oh, Hazard's got another penalty, so he's going to get him now.
So he's almost certainly got P7, but if he keeps up a decent pace, he could be P6.
Aero Blake is looking good for a podium, just a second behind Chaz Knight Rider, but with Chaz having the 3 seconds.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they might be
yellow sector 1, and that is where the McLarens are.
Yeah, but it hasn't involved any of the McLarens. Both McLarens are still running comfortably.
I've think got no idea an Alfa Romeo, and the Alfa Romeo slowed or went off, and that's
probably what's caused that. So yeah, I think
they are ghosting lapping anyway, so they're all right.
Aero Blake has pretty much got P3
right up, yeah.
But I think Chaz Knight Rider
and Sanchez is on to 18 seconds now penalty.
Yeah, and Jimmy Jags on 12.
Jimmy Jags 12 and Jack on 12.
Oh, this being the closest fight of the lot at the moment, you have got to watch it, haven't you? Aero Blake just half a second from his teammate as we round out onto our final lap now. Rick just finishing that lap 31, so we head onto the final lap. And whilst it has been a race of a lot of spins, only 2 DNFs.
It's flown by as well, it really has. And here we go, is he going to make the move or is he just going to sit behind him?
He looks like he's going to make the move. They're racing each other.
They're really racing each other. And Aero Blake gets the move.
Done and dusted.
Loses a bit of curb. And yeah, he's made it stick.
Now, that does surprise me a little bit. Because that could open the door. If that sim guy, okay, yeah, he's going to have to do 1.8 seconds this lap. But if he does it, he can nick P4 it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the lapped cars are ghosting, so they shouldn't cause any problems.
Yeah, that sim guy's now only got a second to do it.
Yeah,
I think this might be one of the most crucial pieces here. It's going to be very, very close. I think Chaz Knight Rider knows it's all over.
Comes round the final corner. Rick comes round the final corner.
Hits a little right-hander.
And takes the checker flag.
Wins here in Imola. And straight into the wall he goes. What a perfect way to round out a victory on F1 2022. Because that's just what everyone else does. And Quick Killers, after a very sort of
That's in there,
eventful race, he takes
3.5,
P2.
3.4,
Aeroblake takes P3, and that sim guy is going to be
3.3.
so
He's not
desperately
going to
close,
do
but
it.
he's not going
Oh,
to
he's
make
not
it.
done
He
it.
takes
He's
P5, and
not
Chaz
done
Knight
it.
Rider
Hazard
keeps
is chasing
P4.
R. Henson, but he's not going to get
It's
him.
not going to
R.
happen
Henson
either. R.
takes
Henson
6.
also breaking the wing, and J Horse then pushes himself up because of those
J
time
was up to
penalties.
6
He
because of the
takes
penalties,
P6
yeah.
after the penalties, and now just 2 drivers to come across the line. Mechanical Cole and Never Fear Andy's here. All the rest were laps. That's why they're around before them. So they only completed 31 of the 32 laps. But what a race that was!
Thrilling in there. That sim guy was probably looking good for P2 until he had that incident after passing the McLarens, who, as you say, were solid throughout and finished 3 and 4. And that sim guy just missing out with the penalty and having to stick to 5th. But Rick, what can I say? Every time I've raced against Rick or commentated on Rick, he's there or thereabouts. The guy is consistency and pace personified.
Here he is walking down that front line. He's brought his will to the podium. And it is another win. I think it's another win. I think he won in round 1 as well, didn't he?
He certainly wins a lot. I'm not sure specifically which leagues, but yeah, he definitely wins a lot.
It is 2 for 3 races that Rick has won. He well and truly brings himself into this driver's fight with a threatening force. With 2 of the 3 races we've had so far, he has won, and won comfortably. So after P4 on the grid, the Haas, Rick takes home the win, and Quick Killers comes in P2 for the Williams. The 2 McLarens of Aeroblake and Chaz Knight Rider come in P3 and P4, and that sim guy comes P5. J Horse with the fastest lap comes P6 for Ferrari, and R. Henson P7 for Williams. Hazard comes P8 for Aston Martin, and Mechanical Cole P9 for Alpine. Never Fear Andy's here, comes P10, so he picks up some nice points. And Mr. Cookie P11 for Alfa Romeo, and his teammate Alexis Sanchez just behind him. Jimmy Jags comes in P13 for Aston Martin, and Kafjak P14 for Mercedes. And then we are 2 DNFs, our 2 Alpha Tauris, Aiden Gray and the Crazy Dutchman come in P15 and 16 after DNFing from the race. Now, I don't...
Alphas, this DNF is very impressive. 16 started and 14 finished on a medium 50% race. That's pretty good.
Yeah, big gains for Chaz Knight Rider after starting on 10th and finishing 4th. One of the biggest gaps, and let's see, the biggest gap can always be seen by what F1 gives us the driver of the day, because that's how it registers who is driver of the day and who isn't. So if the top 3 are currently sort of watching or listening, please make sure you are one of my friends on PlayStation, because it just makes my life a lot easier. And with that in mind, let's add some people to the party. Let's add our podium positions to the party. Check play together. So we want Rick, we want Aero came P3, didn't he? And Quick Killers. Yes, right, where is Quick Killers? Oh, I'm going to have to search his name. Yay. He's left as
well. Rick is joining us. Congratulations on another victory.
Yeah, thank you. I believe I'm leading the championship by like probably around 10 to 15 points now, which is very good. I'll take that happily. And yeah, like, okay, so I'll start with my start then. It was pretty good. Overtook R. Henson at the start, and then it pushed him wide at turn one. That's sorry, R. Henson. Like cold tires. Like, before the formation lap even ended, my tires were like 65 degrees.
Yeah, our
Jesus.
Henson did struggle on the first lap. I think he dropped down quite a few positions.
Yeah, he dropped down to like P5, 6, something like that.
And so we'll talk through the race. So we had we talked through your start, and then we had a reasonably early safety car, didn't we? Around sort of lap 12, lap 13. And I'm
Earlier
correct
than
in
that,
was even
lap
earlier than that,
7-ish,
wasn't
I
it?
think.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
lap 7.
So
Like, yeah.
am I correct? You were one of the ones that pitted.
Yes, I
Yes,
was,
you did pit.
and before that, even I had that spin while leading top
Yes.
five, top three.
So you came
Um,
in, and I feel like similar to the top three, you all laid pretty low, didn't you? Like during the race, you've sort of comfortably worked your way up into these top positions and sort of just taken things where and where you can. Um, but obviously, to do that, you've got to get quite a few overtakes under your belt.
yeah, so yeah. Immediately off the restart, I overtook Cole, and then can't remember much after that really. Uh, yeah. I think I overtook Hazard as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Hazard had a nightmare off the. Was it Hazard or it was one of the Aston Martins had a real nightmare off the restart. I went right back to the from about P5 or 6 right back to the back.
yeah.
That may have been Jimmy Jaggs or Hazard, one of the Astons.
Yeah, could have been.
And can I ask, what was your tyre wear like? Because I'm hearing a lot of tyre wear
Um,
problems.
it was around, I'd say, 75 to 80%.
Oh wow.
I mean, it was like it was high 60s last time I looked. That was like a lap or two before the end.
Yeah. So anything else sort of particular prowess or bit problematic you had in your race?
Still struggling a bit with just traction and just getting on the power when the tire wear really kicks in.
Yeah.
I think that's what caused my spin as well today, early on. The mediums not being good.
But
Anyway,
but either way, a really strong race from you to
yeah,
pick up a win.
yeah, the second of my season and the third in 4 races.
Yeah. Say congratulations. The title fight just got that little bit more interesting,
Mm.
and look forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah, got redemption for last week, so
Yeah, big time. Congratulations, Zach.
thank you.
Right, so since our second place can't be with us, we will jump straight to third. Aero Blake, how are you feeling?
Mixed emotions.
Mixed emotions, talk us through it.
Yeah, so I started on softs expecting a bit of chaos and an early safety car, which did come good. So I started 7th on the grid and was running up in P3 by the time the safety car came round. Pitted onto hard under the safety car, so I was effectively a net second behind J Horse. But I got a drive through penalty.
Yeah,
So I had to serve that a couple of laps after the safety car, which obviously put me miles back. It cost me about 22 seconds or so. So then it was just pounding around, picking up places as and when. Obviously, about half the field were still to pit, so they didn't pit in the safety car. So they all fouled behind me anyway. But ultimately, to finish third after that was extremely surprising. A little disappointed to steal third off my teammate, but a fantastic drive by him nonetheless for fourth.
I
Yeah.
was really interested to see you going wheel to wheel on the final lap with your teammate, bearing in mind he had penalties and you could have sat behind and still got the place.
You got to put on a show sometimes, haven't you?
Absolutely.
I had a feeling he wouldn't fight it too hard, to be fair, so I thought, I'd rather get it done on track if possible.
It was very, very close to him losing fourth place on penalties to that sim guy. It was, I think, 0.2 in the end that he
Yeah,
held
it was
fourth.
about
I
2
didn't
tenths.
spot that. I didn't think of that, actually. I think when I last looked at the gap, Sim guy was about 5 seconds back.
He was
Yeah, he was like a
flying.
rocket ship on the soft start. He
Absolutely
really
flying
was.
on the fresh sets
We
off.
thought he was going to get P2 if he hadn't had the incident just after he was overtaking both of you guys.
But yeah, that was it, him dropping it on the curb, and so the
Yeah.
podium was definitely not on until that happened.
Right, so now we've had our general interview questions. We'll do my favourite one, our 3 race word roundup. So we'll start with third place because we've been talking to you. What is your, so generally and your own race, sort of just 3 words to sum it up?
Screw Codemasters, recovery.
Fair
I
enough.
say that because my drive-through was I was 0.008 over the delta, and you normally used to take a bit of liberty getting to the pits on the last game, so I don't know if I've changed that on this game.
Ah,
So yeah, that caught
outrageous.
me out. So lesson learned
Outrageous
for
from
future
EA.
races.
No, that is EA, the outrageous. And our winner, what is your 3 race word roundup?
Mine is spin to win.
Spin to win. That is much better than pay to win, which we know EA is famous for. I think I much prefer spin to win. And a co-commentator, what is your 3 race word roundup?
Excitement at Imola.
Excitement at Imola. You know what? I might have to nick the word excitement because that was an excitement, extravaganza, and engaging. We've gone for 3 E's for Rick
Well,
v
there you go.
E17. Get it? See, I'm full of lyricism. Yeah, I'm really proud of that one. And yeah, well, thank you both for joining, both podiums for joining me, and I'll see you guys next week.
See you next week.
See you later. Right, now, one last thing, Mr. Blobby. We've been requested by Quick Killers to give some driver of the days, haven't we?
Yeah, mine, obviously, I'm going to go for Rick because he won. Well, that's self-explanatory. That sim guy I went for because I thought his strategy was absolutely brilliant, trying to do something different and not just follow the safety car pit. And he would have made it work for P2 if he hadn't had a little incident when he was absolutely flying, so I've gone for him. And one we've not really mentioned as we've been speaking to the other 2 on the podium, I've gone for Quick Killers, the second place.
You know what? I agree with those quite a lot, to be honest.
I feel a little bit guilty that I couldn't nominate one of the McLarens
Yeah,
because they both drove solid drives, but those were my 3. You got to pick 3. So.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with Rick as well because he had like a 15-16 second gap at the end of the race. Just a really solid drive from him in general.
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm then going to give one to Aero Blake because after a decent qualifying, he managed to sort of just hang tight, and then he sort of brought his teammate sort of came up to him, and then they kind of worked in tandem. And obviously, he wasn't the one that picked up the penalty, so you've got to give it to him.
Absolutely.
So out of the 2,
if I had 4, I would have picked one of the McLarens, definitely.
Yeah, I feel like both McLarens did so well, but Aero didn't have a penalty, so you've got to give it to. That's pretty much the only difference between them, to be honest.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm going to say I'm going to have to give my final one to that sim guy as well, because to be getting fastest laps of the race currently on
Yeah.
18 lap old tyres, and then to come into the pits and to be looking so well, and then it was just a little bit too harsh
Oh,
on the,
rocket pace.
absolutely rocket pace. Even after the spin, he was back on the pace immediately,
And
I think
almost nicked fourth. Yeah.
yeah, he
Two
very nearly
tenths.
nicked fourth. It could have been better, but it still wasn't anywhere near as bad as it looked. It looked like it was going to be. So I've got to say, for recovery number one and then recovery number two, both
Yeah.
being really solid recovery runs, you've got to hand my other place to him.
Honourable mention for Mr. Cookie, because I don't know how much of his problems were due to the desync he had, and
I
he was running
think-
quite well, and he qualified really well as well.
Yeah, I mean,
So
he is notorious for being a great little qualifier and then just never standing on the top step of the podium. And his curse has striked once again. So
yeah,
I pray for next time. Next time he hits pole position,
just
or
give him a
gets
little
up in the top
mention there
run.
because of the power cut issue.
Yeah, I mean, when it's a power
Can
cut
always
as well,
sympathise.
that's just as
Can always
heartbreaking, isn't it?
sympathise. Yeah.
And I mean, I think my honourable mention, I think I'm going to have to give my honourable mention to Chaz Knight Rider, the
Yeah.
other McLaren, because both
Yeah.
McLarens, you know
Solid.
what? I don't think they were in party communications because of what Aero said about him. Oh, I don't
About
think
not
you were taking him
realising.
hard.
Yeah.
But I think even they're not in a party, and yet they worked together so well, and that doesn't
Yeah.
take one driver, that takes both drivers. So I'm going to give my honourable mention to Chaz Knight Rider, and I think that just about sums it up for tonight.
Excellent.
Look at that, 9:30 on the dot. That is like that's the time we're supposed to finish. So that is ideal.
Well, there you
So,
go.
Yeah. Thank you all very much for watching. I have been the Car Statistics. He has been
Have
Bobby
it.
Butler. And you know what? You can have the honour. You can round us out.
Well, I'm hoping that I'll be around more often to do some more of these comms because I've really enjoyed it, and I'm probably a better commentator than I am a racer, as you'll see if you watch on Mondays. And yeah, it's been really good. Next week, I'm not sure what the track is, but hopefully I'll be around with you again.
Yeah, I shall. Now you said it. My brain. Once you say something like that, I have to know. We're
apologise.
We're going to Spain. We're going to
Oh, I
Catalonia.
do like. I think, unpopular opinion, I like Spain. I know a lot of people don't, but I do.
Fair enough. Right. Well, you'll have to be with us for next week. Thank you all very much for watching.